But you need to be an advocate, like at high school and even in middle school, of getting the kids into the classes that your kids should be in. And they do everything they can to just try to make you be a sheep. Like, just go here, don't buck the system. So like in high school, we learned there's a lot of classes you can get your kids to bypass. So, for example, the state, I don't know if they still do, but they required PE. And my kids wanted to do sports. Well, if they take a health class online, they don't have to take the PE, which means now they can take Spanish and have an elective that's going to be useful. Or robotics, or my daughter took CAD. Then there's another class called Digitals, which is basically can you operate a computer, which they learn in 5 Acre, and they give you a little test, like they have to create a Word document, make a spreadsheet, like very, very basic. But if they can do that, then they didn't have to take this class at the time. So again, we got another elective for our daughter by finding out ahead of time how to do that. So, but we did find that 5 Acre parents traditionally care about education, their kids. There's a higher level of interest in the process. So talking to the parents that went through that, you learn. It saved us a lot of steps, and I think helped my kids have a better opportunity in the high school. But the school, at the high school, they just teach to pass the kids to graduate. They're not, as an example of my daughter, that they are not trying to help high-achieving kids. They're not trying to do what 5 Acre does, which is find your niche and really explore so much. It's just get them through to say we have a graduation rate of X%. That's sadly what it is. And historically, so Jessica's a senior. At Swim High School, there's roughly 1,000 students. There's one period of calculus. Total.
Wow.
In the school of 1,000 kids, one period of calculus for her senior year. So when she wanted to take Spanish 4, she couldn't because it's the same period as the one section of calculus. I mean, so there's all these, and they don't try to make like, well, we've got 7 kids that can do this Spanish. They don't do that. It's to the mass lowest denominator. So you have to figure out how, as a family, or how your student wants to address that based on where you might want to go. And like in our house, we just try to say keep as many doors open as long as you can. So that's what you try to do. I think that's what we try to do. And 5 Acre prepared them for that. And so, and the other families, it's definitely a network. So you can go and you can find people you haven't seen in a long time. I'm not a hugger, but I am now.
So it sounds like
you were a
those of you
hugger
that
always.
go to Stevens still have somewhat of a child-centered classroom. So for the rest of you, that it's more of a teacher-centered environment, did you struggle, did you have a difficult time adjusting from the child-centered curriculum going into a teacher environment rather than the child-centered environment?
I know I did. I was a pretty shy kid, and so I know. But yeah, 12-year-old Larry was different, and so when the teachers would just like talk at you, I didn't like really understand the concept that it was like me who was supposed to like go up and talk to literally my teachers didn't even know what my first name was, like Iriana, and they didn't even know to call me Irie until 3 months into school, just because I didn't understand the concept of having like a teacher just stand up and like talk to you for an hour. It was kind of like scary and confusing to me, actually. It was because here it's just so relaxed and comfortable, and I mean, you call teachers by their first name, like so it was totally a shift, and it was just really uncomfortable and felt like weird. I remember. But it might be different for you youngins down there now. I'm not sure.
I like to hear a little from Ruby and Ellie because they just made the transition.
Yeah. I got some really good teachers. I have Miss Basalt, and she's really energetic.
There's one of the few good ones that's going to middle school.
Yeah, except her favorite day is test day. So that's not that great. But my favorite class is history, and I have Mr. Penza, and I think he's a really awesome teacher.
Well, I have what most of the kids would say, the bad set of teachers.
Oh.
But, yeah.
And Ellie told me that in the honors classes, I'm not in honors, but they might let me in at semester 2. So I'm hoping they will, because I almost have a 4.0. And Ellie said that they don't really explain how to do it, because they taught teachers in Grey Wolf and Herman Haller taught you like everything that you need to know for the middle school, but here they didn't teach you, like they didn't make you like know your multiplication tables by heart and stuff. So
Well, also they're doing Common Core at Swim Middle School, which is disgusting, seriously. Ugh. So I know I've helped you do a lot of math homework, and I'll sit there and be like, what is this? Because the Common Core way of teaching is just completely different. Like, I honestly, I can't do 6th grade math homework with Common Core. It's a little bit ridiculous. So I know some of your frustration, like correct me if I'm wrong, has stemmed from you feel like you don't understand the way to do Common Core things, and that your teachers won't really sit and explain it to you. But I could be wrong.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah.
One thing, they teach, like some teachers, I had a specific teacher, her name's Miss Dwyer. If you can, avoid her. So, this specific teacher, they teach you different ways of how to add and subtract and divide. And she, well, not her, but there's other teachers, and they didn't know that way, and then they wouldn't accept it. And that was like, you draw like a little box and you do some drawing the lines, and it's, lattice method, and that's how I started. And teachers like, oh, you're from 5 Acre. Can I start doing that? And they just know because kids from 5 Acre would do that. But then in 7th grade, I would continue to do it, and then they wouldn't accept it. And then I had to learn like a new way of doing math. So that would be one thing that was hard, is I only had sort of one way. And I mean, it was great, and I forgot how to do lattice method, but that's kind of to learn a different way. But learning the one way how to like do the math, and then being forced to change in middle school, that was pretty difficult.
See, I went to middle. On my first day there, they were just teaching. We were doing multiplying decimals, and multiplying and dividing at 5 Acre is a lot different than it is at the middle school. Like dividing, you have like the box, and there's a line right here. Well, they keep it up. It's just way different, and I had to spend half the class period just trying to like look at it and figure it out as best as I could. It was hard. It still is.
And then Ruby was saying it set you back not knowing the multiplication table.
like they'll say like really big numbers, but I don't know them by heart, and they'll expect me to like be able to answer it in like 3 seconds. But I have to like write it down.
Is that the only memory thing that has bothered you so far, or is there other memory things that you were supposed to have learned by memory?
That's about the only one. And my teachers are pretty good about explaining it to me.
I kind of disagree. I think Five Acre did a really good job of helping me learn my like times tables and stuff. Because people at Stevens, they'll be like, oh, I'm going to use my calculator for 11 plus 3, and it's like, oh, please, come on, you can do 11 plus 3 in your head, or at least on your fingers. I mean, just your calculator, it's a little, yeah, less still, I think I did a really good job of doing that, and Cole and I were saying the other day, if we did those 50 facts math tests, I don't know, do you guys still do those?
I'm chuckling back here because right now, Thomas, the Explorer class is in the middle of the 50 facts math thing, and it's caused, there's been some uproar about it because it's a memorization thing. It's one of the very few memorization things you have to actually do here.
Yeah.
Because it is really helpful, Ruby and Ellie are telling us, to know your times tables, right?
Yeah.
So.
So Cole and I were saying the other day, if you did 50 facts math test at Stevens, it'd just be interesting to see people's scores. Like, I think they'd be below 50. Like, it's, they're just thinking, like we had, when you memorize it, it's not fun, but when you learn it, it is so nice to be able to do, 6 times 7, which is Tom's favorite math fact, by the way, in your head, at any second, instead of having to do it on your calculator and feeling a little bit like disabled, not being able to do that.
Yeah, I was good at the math facts. I got like 51 seconds to finish it, and it.
Ezra has the record, by the way. Just toot your own horn. You're good.
And it helps just knowing some simple math facts, because in Stevens they kind of train you to use a calculator, but it's sometimes better, easier, and faster to do it in your head. and be able to do it on your own, not just rely on a calculator.
I personally loved 50 facts math test. It's the one time I loved peer pressure. I mean, just so much adrenaline for 50 facts of multiplication. It's crazy. I love it. I wish there was more stuff in terms of tests like that. Just straight up like 1 minute to finish this, or was it 3 minutes? Yeah, I think 3 minutes to finish this. I just love that. Just really fun.
All right, I have a question. Around the table, as quick as you can. What job do you want when you grow up? Go ahead.
A professional athlete or statistics person?
I don't know, like architect or like car designer or something.
A nurse.
Photographer. I have no idea.
High school teacher.
Not a clue.
Science field, something. Something involving politics, music, or photography.
Or scientist.
Say again.
Some kind of scientist.
Okay.
Austin.
Wow. I have no clue. Not at work.
Colorado, you said you go to, huh?
Yeah.
Sounds like you're on the 6-year program.
But my whole
So
life. is
what I heard there was there's an interesting balance of society. There's art and science. There's math. There's teaching. There's sports. There's chill. There's a wide spectrum of society in a small area. So you're seeing a little bit of everything, and it's not everyone's going into becoming a writer. There's a little bit of everything. There's a lot of different personalities just at this one little table, which is good.
Can you talk more about the social shift? Like how you, what you've done to help yourself with the social shift? Yeah.
Well, at the middle school, in the first month, I think I knew one person there. She was kind of bratty. I knew her. She was the one person I knew except for Ruby. But Ruby didn't know anyone either. She invited us to sit at her table the first day of school. We ended up there for a month. And it just kind of like, there was a group of bratty 12-year-olds who've all had at least 20 boyfriends in their life. Yeah. And we kind of stayed there for like a month. And then we realized that we kind of needed to change our little friend group there because it was kind of not very fun.
We went and sat at the soccer people table.
Was it labeled soccer people labeled?
Basically.
No, but
It's kind of stereotypical. The middle school is pretty.
we have like the annoying people, and then the girls soccer people and the boys soccer people, and then the regular
Popular people.
slash annoying.
I think at 5 Acre, like, well, I'm trying to think. I went to Portland for my 7th grade year, which was right out of 5 Acre, and I literally didn't know anybody in my school, and so that was really difficult and hard, and but like whatever, you know, you figured out, you make friends. And then I came back to swim, and I knew like 3 people from 5 Acre school, and knowing those 3 people made my life so much easier. And now, I mean, I went to school with her, and we're like best friends. So I think that especially if you send your kid to a school where there's other people that went to 5 Acre, they'll know someone, and knowing one person makes all the difference. Like, it becomes so much easier to navigate middle school and how scary it is if you have like one person you know, especially if they're from 5 Acre by your side. So
the kids, I'm assuming, that go here, we've got little kids, so the social circles aren't our forte yet. But I'm assuming most of the parents, most of the lifestyles are similar, maybe not the same. And the kids that come out of that would be similar, intentional children or kids. How was that going from kind of a homogenous group going into a big school where you've got a bunch of different, I mean, was it just kind of what you did, or was it really tough trying to deal with, I don't know, different people? Because you're in a little bubble here. You're in a really nice, very kind, caring bubble.
different family values.
Yeah, and I mean,
Different realities.
was it just like, wow, here's the world, or was it really tough?
I think any way you look at it, it's gonna be tough. Like, regardless of what you do, there's gonna be,
You can't prepare.
it's gonna be, you're probably gonna have days where you're not liking where you're at, but I think it's worth it. I love where I'm at now, and I don't think I could have gotten there without going through the middle school. Middle school is, don't worry, only 3 years.
Yeah, I think.
But
I went through normal school my entire life, and normal school my entire life, and middle school was the worst 4 years I've ever had.
Yeah, I think middle school's just bad.
We can't really put it in a nice way, but it sucks for 3 years. But you find good parts in there. Oh, nice.
So, I mean, I hear all these people say middle school sucks and all that, but I love middle school. It's great. I mean, I wake up and I really want to go to school because I just feel like, I just feel motivated to do well at school. I mean, the very beginning of school, I knew 2 people, Raven and Anton. Anton used to go here as well. But I was doing football after school, and so I met my friends, and who are now my friends during school as well. And I mean, just the people in my class are incredibly nice. Yeah.
Most of them.
Most of them. And they're also, I mean, they also kind of agree with my beliefs. I mean, they all have general common sense, so it's easy to make friends in the situation that I'm in. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I mean, middle school is great for me.
Well, and Heidi, to answer your question about if it's tough to like kind of pop the social bubble at 5 Acre, I think that it gives you a unique mindset when you meet new people because you've grown up for the majority of the time with people you know and people that are all from similar situations. And so because you don't even think like, oh, this person is so different than I am, for me at least, I felt like it didn't really matter. Like everyone I met was equal to me and like you get to know them off that and really go from there.
Did you feel anything back towards you, like, oh, they're the weird kids that went to that school?
I didn't.
Just asking.
Yeah, no, I really didn't. I mean, there was definitely like, you miss out on some jokes and you didn't know people's 5th grade teacher and stuff like that, but whatever, that's really not the end of the world.
Did you guys say though, you have, by going to 5 Acre, you have friends in school that are in different grades versus only being in your grade?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different for me, I know at least, because I'm at Running Start. And so and that definitely makes your social life really weird because you're not in school with your peers, you're in school with people that are old enough to be your grandparents sometimes, and then people that are like a year older than you. So it's just such a wide range at the college that like I'm friends with people that are a lot older than me and my age, but I think at the middle school and high school, you're stuck with people in the same grades as you, so you're mostly friends with those people, I think. But that's not how it was at 5 Acre at all. It was nice to get to like mix with people that weren't just in your age group.
Austin.
Okay, I have something about the social aspect. I just remember like 5th and 6th grade, we're all like all growing out our hair and stuff. And then first day of middle school, I had long hair and then like getting name called and stuff. And then like met a few good friends I like really attracted to and stuff. And then just over like the years of schooling, especially in college and coming here, just like not really caring if you fit in or stuff, you know? You just express yourself your own way. And like I'm a weird, like I know I'm really weird. Like so like I attract like that vibe to other people and stuff. So I just learned to like express your own self. You like don't really have to fit in with like everyone else. You can just be yourself, and the people that you connect with and your vibe, they will come to you, and you know, and then that's how you form your friends group. It's just like just learn to express yourself your own way, and like I don't really care if I fit in with you or you or you. I'm just being myself, and this is who I am, and so that's nice coming here, you know. You just like express yourself how you are. So like going to middle school and like you have the popular group, and like I only had like a few friends, like I had like 3 good friends growing all through high school and middle school, like really tight, and then everyone else was like acquaintances, you know, like I know of you, but don't really hang out with you, so.
So do you feel like your time at 5 Acre helped you to feel comfortable with who you are? So when you went out into the real world, you
5 Acre, and then also going to getting more comfortable with yourself, just like Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, I can have long hair. I don't have to cut my hair. Like some guys calling you names or stuff, and you just like let it go, you know? Like, yeah. So I don't know. It opens you up. You can just express yourself better. You can be who you are. You don't have to say, oh, I'm not sticking with the popular kids.
Do you point at your state championship trophy too?
Right. Like,
So you got one of
I
these?
did a lot of sports.
Got one of these, buzz cut?
Right, I did a lot of sports. I had a lot of athletes
I
friends,
think
but
so.
I did diving, so like, oh, you're just a diver. You wear a Speedo. All right.
Yeah, when trying to
You know, but yeah. And then that further, I went into college and did it for a year, and then decided that way too hard.
I noticed Ezra was gonna add something to the social aspect. Do you still have it in your mind?
He kind of said it.
Yeah.
If you're just, you don't really have to try to fit in with people, because if you do, you'll make friends that you're not really friends with. But if you're just kind of open to whatever, then your friends will like the friends that you get will be the friends that want to be friends with you. And they will come to you and just, naturally.
Yeah, to add on to that, it's, when I was going to middle school, I was like, oh, there's going to be a lot of weird kids, people I don't really know, people that are just kind of, like, maybe not doing so good, just kind of strange, and, like, I don't want to go into a whole school full of weird, creepy people who don't do good things with their life. But then it's like, so I'm in all honors classes, I'm in orchestra, I'm involved in, ASB, stuff like that. You'll be friends with the kids who are in honors classes and also, playing music or, whatever, doing good things. And so I was scared I was going to have to be, maybe sit at a table with some weird person who would, like, influence me or something, but you don't. Because, you're just going to be with the people who are like you. It just happens that way.
Well, you know what? I just have to say I appreciate that, because I was going to piggyback on something that Heidi, the question you had asked about, like, well, you come from this pretty homogenous group of people and you end up with everybody who's in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, right? And I oftentimes hear lots of people have concerns about, like, oh, well, they're going to go into this environment where there's all these other kids that they just don't know, and, those kids, right? And the reality is that, well, first of all, the world is full of those kids and those people, and we all need to learn how to live with those kids and those people, whoever they are. And the reality is, I think Raven and Ezra and Austin said it very well, is like, okay, so if you are who you are, the people that you gravitate towards or who gravitate towards you are going to be like you. And so, Raven, you're worried about, oh, am I going to end up sitting at lunch with somebody that is doing something that isn't okay, that I'm not okay with? Probably not, because that's not the sort of person that you maybe will gravitate toward or will gravitate towards you. So, and so there's kind of a question in this, but did you guys feel prepared for meeting people and interacting with people who are really different from you?
Yeah. At 5 Acre, there's just it's kind of the safe, it's a really safe school. And so you meet a lot of people where it's okay to be yourself. And when you go into middle school, there's a couple people there that went to 5 Acre. Like, this morning, I was in the hallways and I saw Enya and Zoe, Zoe Yates, she went to 5 Acre. I saw Enya and Zoe standing in the hallway talking, and I just went up, and it's not like I'm going to talk with an 8th grader. It's like I'm talking with my friends. And 5 Acre is just kind of like, it's like a family, yeah. Ruby was just saying, like, she just said something about 5 Acre, like, students being your brothers and, like, your aunts and uncles as your teachers. She literally said that in the car on the way over.
For me, what I thought was really funny is in my language arts class, she was telling us a story, and she's funny, and she'll be like, well, I said a couple bad words when I fell into the ditch and stuff, and everyone would be like, oh, what bad word did you say, and stuff like that. And she said that people who swear a lot, they end up not having that great of a life, and about half the class was like, what? That's so not true!
This is your teacher said that?
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, people who swear a lot actually have better acuity when it comes to language, linguistics.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yes.
I'm just saying, and I was one of those kids, and I turned out more than okay. So, just saying.
And I think like at 5 Acre, there's no one else to be except for yourself. Like really, there's not any pressure to be like some kid that comes to school with the fanciest clothes because you're just gonna get them dirty and ruin them in the mud. Like that's the reality of it. And so I think I went into middle school like not even understanding the concept of like putting on an air and like trying to be someone other than myself. And it turns out that that was really unique and weird in public school. And so people were like, what's she doing? Like, what's your game? And it's like, what game? Yeah, exactly. And so I think like with that kind of mentality, I didn't understand that there were like those kids. I recognized that there were kids who had it harder than I did and that were not as lucky as I was. But I can't think of really any like horrible experiences I have with those kids because when you treat those kids like regular kids, they usually act like regular kids is what I found. So, I don't know. That was just kind of my experience with it.
One thing, I went into middle school and I was playing on the local like Storm King soccer team, and I think that if I hadn't have had that, like knowing people other than here, that would have been really different. Liam Harris, Tom's son, he was my friend from preschool till he still is today, and he would have been really the only guy that I knew from this school. But I had the soccer team, and I actually played up, so I didn't know my own grade. But just playing like rec soccer, that's such an advantage. Like you don't know the person, like you don't really know them well, but you know their name, and that's so much more when starting the first day and going to lunch or whatever. It's just so much more. Just having that little bit of background of like other people, it just makes it that much easier.
I was just gonna throw in. Talking about the social adjustment, kind of what Ira was saying, being yourself. I watched. Because I went into 6th grade with a couple of my good friends, and each of them kind of had their own different take on how that peer pressure affected them. One of my good friends, Kaylee, she definitely felt that pressure and tried to fit in with those people and spent a couple years there, but she definitely figured out pretty quick that that wasn't for her. She preferred being herself and is now much happier. And I think it just takes time for each person. It's way different. Like you don't really know until you're in that situation, since it's something so unfamiliar from a 5 acre setting that you just have to experience it at some point. If you stay sheltered in here, it's gonna be a bit weird when you finally get released. Released. But I mean, it's great while you're here.
Did people even know what 5 acre was when you told them?
Yeah. People knew. I mean, maybe
the teachers
not.
knew.
Yeah.
The kids had no
Not
idea.
the kids. A few kids did. Yeah.
So I'm in a group where everybody kind of like praises Cole and I for being at 5 acre. They're like, oh, you guys are like really cool. You had this different experience. But Charlotte's class, she's in 9th grade, we're in 8th grade, they're like, oh, you're from the tree hugger school. Like, they have a totally different opinion. They think she's weird and strange because she's from 5 acre. So it's kind of people in your class too, and how they think of you, but it doesn't really matter, You're still going to have the experience of being a 5 acre and learning everything that you learned.
Austin? My friends, just my neighborhood kids, the same grade. That's why, honestly, some of the reason I didn't stay back in 6th grade and repeated a year, because all my friends are same, so I don't want to be with no one. But I felt like I could move on like I did. But my friends always said, "Oh, he's at the school where you ride horses, and that's you don't have grades, and it's made out of straw, and you do all these fun activities and stuff." So it was really fun. So they were jealous. That's what it really came down to.
I think, yeah. Once you tell kids in public school, going through it every day, that have for their whole lives, what actually happens here, the reaction I think I got 99% of the time is that's not fair. Why did you get to go there?
Life's not fair.
Yeah, exactly. But
I thought the reaction between what people thought, I told people what I did at 5 acre, and high school, I think now people are oh, that was awesome. But then in middle school, they're oh, that's weird. So it's different, as you get older, they realize oh, that was awesome. But it started out, they're that's weird.
So it seems like, Cole, you enjoy going to middle school because you're playing football, right? Or you find an extracurricular activity, soccer in your case. That seems to have helped the social transition and going to and what you appreciate about the schools. Is there any other extracurricular things you do that help with that? And that goes for everybody else, Ruby and folks who have just transitioned. Have you tried to engage extracurriculars?
Well, for me, there's not. I'm only doing sports after school. I don't really. The clubs don't really appeal to me. They just seem. Yeah.
I don't know how I got this child. He's a jock. I don't know how this happened, but it did.
Yeah, it's actually kind of hard doing sports in my family because everybody's. They're not sports people.
That's
but
okay.
yeah, it's totally fine. Everybody's got their thing. And their thing should be respected. I mean, as I said, it definitely helps doing football after school because I met people that have the same interest as me. I made friends with, the guy that's right next to me on the offensive line. He's one of my friends now, one of my good friends. Anton, who I knew before, I blocked for him several times. He's my friend now.
Yeah.
Some of the kids on the football team are a bit unlike me. Some of them just aren't exactly motivated to do well at school. Most of my friends are actually I'm probably gonna say that all my friends are smart and really enjoy school, which is also something that appeals to me. So I'd have to say yes, extracurricular things helped me, but I didn't do very many. I'm just doing sports.
Yeah, that's fine.
I agree,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
I think
Times different.
extracurriculars, especially sports after leaving 5 Acre, are huge because you have so much physical activity here that you don't even really think about because it's just part of your week every Wednesday to go on a hike, and it's part of your day to go out in the refuge and play capture the flag or whatever, but you sit in a classroom for 6 hours and then you go home and do homework and you just do not get the same level of physical activity. And I remember, I think it was in 7th grade when I started playing lacrosse, and it totally changed everything for me because it was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to feel like I'm supposed to be getting outside and not just focused on school. And so, I'm going into my 5th year of it now, and so I would say if you have a kid that's leaving 5 Acre and you can get them into something that's physical, even if it's not a sport, if it's dance or walking, literally whatever, do it because you don't only meet people, but you also keep up that activity. That you
Was it
have.
physically shocking to be sitting in a place for 6 hours?
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Had you ever done that before?
No. No.
To me, what the scariest part of middle school, it just happened this Tuesday. We were gonna do our standardized testing practice test. I was sitting in a dark room with a computer in front of me, the large document, and a multiple paragraph thing I had to write. Barely any direction at all, just taking me into that dark classroom, a bunch of other kids, and take me to the computer, give me my code, and then just, let me do what I'm gonna do. It's kind of scary.
I think this school may need to import bullies, Scantrons, and just
standardized testing.
Chains to seats, and maybe you'd have an easier transition.
Well,
I think some AP students need to get home to study.
Processed food.
Yeah. Thank you, Jessica. And
Thank you.
Matthew. Thank you.
Bringing up the whole
And Peter.
the whole idea of bullies. I don't know about any of you guys in middle school right now. I have not experienced a single case of bullying. I've not witnessed one or been a part of one. Which is great because I've never experienced bullying in my life. My little brother, and of course we fight, but that's not bullying. We're brothers. So, I'm not sure. I think that because we went through such a large part of our education without bullies, I think that automatically not really, you're kind of prepared in a way that, I mean, I feel like I could not, like, if I was bullied, I really would not care. I mean, I would just brush it off. I would. But I feel that just going here and, like you said, accepting who you are could help a lot, helps a lot. I mean, I've never experienced it, but I mean, if you guys,
Well, it's
I'm sure.
sorry, go ahead.
On the other day on the bus, I was sitting by my friend, really nice, and there was these kids behind us, and then there were even farther behind us was one kid sitting alone. He's a little different, but these kids were giving him a hard time. It was just like, this would never happen at 5 Acre. It's just so.
Well, it's an expectation here that you're nice to everybody. Like, I feel like one of the few super solid like expectations you have to, because you just cannot be mean to people. It just doesn't fly. And so I think like even the concept of bullying to